I received an email from a popular pub restaurant in my constituency just giving me these frankly terrifying figures about what they were going to be asked to pay for their energy. So I wanted to focus on the fact that businesses are finding it tough as well as households.
Yeah, I remember speaking to a pub owner actually on Sunday and just being completely shocked, actually, frankly, by the kind of increases that they were going to be seeing. And what did you make of the Prime Minister's response?
Well, I mean, I welcome the very clear response that the package that will be announced tomorrow will include help for businesses as well as households. I mean, obviously, we don't know what that is yet, but it was really reassuring because, of course, much of the debate is understandably about individuals and families, but we don't want to see sort of mass business closures as well. So we do need to focus on the energy costs that they're facing too.
It's going to be expensive, though, isn't it? Liz Truss has ruled out a windfall tax. Do you think that was the right thing to do?
Well, we already have a windfall tax at the moment, so it's already the case that the big energy producers are contributing to solving this problem. And we have a progressive tax system, so higher earners and companies will all be playing their part in funding all of this. So I don't think it was an unreasonable decision for Liz to say that she wasn't going to introduce a specific new windfall tax, but I feel it's best to wait for the detail in the package to see how it will operate and how it will be funded in detail.
Yeah, we are, of course, all waiting that, aren't we, tomorrow's announcement. But at the same time, if she's not going to go for tax rises, then it looks likely it's going to be funding by a pretty big increase in borrowing. I spoke to Philip Hammond, the former Chancellor, over the weekend, and he said that he's worried the Conservatives' reputation for fiscal responsibility and competent government's at stake. Do you think that's right?
This will have an impact on borrowing in the public finances, and so there are risks. I mean, that was obviously the debate during the leadership election, but this is an emergency. I mean, we haven't seen sort of an energy price shock on this scale since the 1970s. You know, we are seeing Vladimir Putin using energy prices as a weapon of war. And in times of emergency, unfortunately, the public finances are impacted, and there's simply no way to avoid that if we're going to do what we have to do. But I feel confident that our new Prime Minister will be looking very carefully at all the numbers to try and minimise the damage on the public finances and to ensure that we can get them back on a sound footing in the future.
I mean, I guess one way to get it back onto a sound footing would be through taxes, though, something that she said that she doesn't want to put up.
Well, she's clearly ruled out that she's very clear about the tax reductions that she wants to make. So I would suspect there's no sort of flexibility on that. But as I say, you know, I'm sure she and her whole new team will be looking carefully about how this is funded.
I'm just interested to know as well, you know, Liz Truss, new Prime Minister, you know, this week, of course, you know, she's been appointing her new cabinet and she's had her first Prime Minister's questions today. What kind of Prime Minister do you think she's going to be?
I think she's going to be determined, resilient. She's got real kind of grit and she is absolutely determined to deliver. So I very much believe and hope that she's going to be able to do that. She faces these incredibly difficult circumstances, not just energy price rises, not just the war in Ukraine, but the aftershocks of COVID on the NHS as well. But I think she performed really strongly at Prime Minister's questions, and she's got a long and impressive track record in government of getting things done. So that's what I think she's going to do as Prime Minister.
You sat around the cabinet table with her. What's she like?
She's very engaging. She's got a good sense of humour, and the years we sat in cabinet together, for much of the time she was doing the DEFRA brief, and I remember her staunchly standing up for the food and drink industry as one of our most important sectors. So she's always been a very impressive figure in government and in Parliament.
You, of course, didn't back her in the leadership race. You went for Rishi Sunak. I have to say, you know, looking at the cabinet appointments, it's pretty clear that she's rewarded those people who were loyal to her. Like, admittedly, there are some Rishi Sunak backers when you go further down the rungs of the ministerial ladders. When it comes to the big decision makers, she hasn't really made the most inclusive cabinet, has she?
She's appointed some incredibly able people to her cabinet and her government. You know, we're a parliamentary party with a great many very talented and capable people, and I think it's understandable that Liz wants some of her key allies in the big positions. And as you say, you know, she's appointed some Rishi backers, and indeed she's appointed people who directly stood against her as candidates in the leadership election.
And then voted behind her, though. So in a way, the people that she relied on for their votes.
I think so, but I think she has got a great team, and that includes Conservative MPs from all wings of the party, and I sincerely wish them well. You know, it just, as we've been discussing, they face an incredibly difficult task, as difficult as any government that's taken office in decades.